What makes each region so different? A city in Thailand was once a famous tourist destination, attracting huge crowds eager to see wild monkeys roaming freely. But today, around 3,500 invasive monkeys have been repeatedly attacking tourists and stealing food and personal belongings. One major reason behind the explosion surprised many people. Years of feeding by tourists and local residents caused the monkey population to grow rapidly. At first, residents assumed it was just a few stray monkeys wandering into town. Within weeks, the situation spiraled out of control. Trash bins were torn apart, food kept disappearing, and the monkey groups grew larger while becoming completely fearless around humans. They moved across rooftops in groups, slipped through narrow alleyways, and vanished almost instantly. The chaotic noise every morning slowly became part of daily life, and controlling them quickly turned into a serious urban conflict. To manage the situation, many areas began deploying trap systems designed to reduce the population in a more controlled way. Instead of chasing the monkeys and creating panic, these methods take advantage of the animal's natural movement patterns. However, success depends heavily on trap placement. Areas near low rooftops, power lines, garbage sites, or familiar travel routes are usually selected. A single mistake in positioning is often enough for the monkeys to immediately change direction and avoid the area entirely. The most commonly used design is the small steel cage trap. Its structure is fairly simple, consisting of a strong steel frame, a drop door, and an automatic trigger system inside. Bait is usually placed deep inside the cage, forcing the animal to move completely into the enclosure before reaching the food. Once enough weight presses against the trigger bar, the door instantly drops shut and keeps the monkey contained inside. This design helps reduce serious injuries during capture. Because of its compact size, this type of trap is often used in narrow alleyways, crowded neighborhoods, or places where larger equipment cannot easily be installed. However, as monkey populations continue to rise, smaller traps begin revealing their limitations. Many monkey groups travel in large troops, making one-by-one capture far too slow. That is why large steel cage systems were eventually introduced. The wider interior allows multiple monkeys to be contained at once while also taking advantage of their herd behavior. Ripe bananas, sweet fruit, and nuts are commonly placed in the center as bait. Once a few monkeys enter first, the others usually follow almost immediately. The fast-closing door system helps reduce escape attempts once the troop begins panicking inside the enclosure. Beyond steel cages, many areas also rely on net traps because of their flexibility in larger open spaces. These systems use wooden posts and durable netting to create an enclosed capture zone. The entrance is often designed like a slope ramp, allowing the monkeys to move in easily toward the bait. Once enough animals gather inside, the locking system activates, dropping the net and containing the entire group at once. This method works especially well in suburban edges or large greenbelt areas. But the control process does not end once the traps are set. After capture, the animals usually go through health inspections before being relocated according to wildlife management regulations. Without cooperation between wildlife authorities and local communities, overall effectiveness drops significantly. Many areas have failed simply because residents continued leaving food outside or unintentionally maintaining a constant food source for monkeys. In those situations, even after one group is removed, new troops quickly return to the same neighborhoods. As long as human food sources remain available, new monkey groups will continue coming back. That is why long-term control depends not only on traps, but also on how communities change their daily habits and manage the surrounding environment. If you found this story interesting, leave a comment and don't forget to follow the channel for more real-world stories about wildlife and urban animal control methods.
Wolves are predators that live in deep forests, mountainous regions, and vast grasslands. They have a high ability to adapt to changing environments, especially when natural food sources become scarce. Wolves usually live in packs, but they can also separate to hunt alone when necessary. When survival conditions become difficult, they begin expanding their range far beyond their familiar habitat. In some cases, wolves may move closer to human settlements if they discover more accessible food sources in the surrounding environment. The appearance of wolves near residential areas usually occurs at night or in the early morning when human activity is limited. They move cautiously, often following natural trails, fences, or areas with vegetation cover to avoid detection. Wolves rarely cross open spaces because they can easily be spotted from a distance. They may appear alone or in small groups depending on feeding conditions. Their repeated return to the same routes shows that they have developed stable movement patterns around the area, making their presence increasingly noticeable over time. As wolves appear more frequently, residents begin noticing clear impacts on daily life and livestock farming. Livestock and poultry face a higher risk of being threatened, especially at night. Signs such as unusual noises and footprints around fences cause people to become more alert. Some households even have to change their daily routines to ensure safety. The presence of wolves not only affects property but also creates psychological pressure on communities living near forests. Therefore, monitoring and control become necessary to reduce long-term risks in the area. After identifying the activity zone, traps are deployed along routes that wolves frequently use. Locations near fences, trails, or areas with vegetation cover are prioritized because these places are more likely to show signs of wolf activity. The people carrying out the operation try to keep the surrounding environment unchanged to avoid altering the wolves' natural behavior. Bait is placed to increase attraction. At the same time, observation from a distance helps minimize human presence, preventing wolves from becoming wary and suddenly changing their travel routes within the controlled area. The main reason wolves return to this area is the decline of natural food sources in their habitat. When conditions in the forest can no longer provide enough resources, they are forced to move closer to human settlements to survive. Farms and livestock facilities become targets because they offer easily accessible food. After successfully finding food there, wolves tend to remember the location and return out of habit. This increases the frequency of their appearances, forcing residents to implement control measures to reduce risks in forest-adjacent communities. After a period of monitoring and control, a key moment occurs when observers record a wolf caught in a trap at the prepared location. The animal is held within the controlled area and can no longer move freely as before. The surrounding area shows clear signs of disturbance, reflecting the wolf's earlier approach. Observation is carried out from a safe distance to ensure no danger is created. This result demonstrates that the trap location matched the wolf's travel route and confirms the effectiveness of the entire control process in the area.
Going on 2 weeks. We bagged one, man. It has been a tough area. February's all over for us, but this has been just absolutely slow. We got on a set post set Bobcat here earlier on our radio, one of our built and a remake. And with it being season, it's late season, they're just really not responding to dirt holes. just like any other set, you always want your traps a little bit lower than ground level. Give this a roll.
The process of controlling wolves requires time, observation, and careful site selection. When movement patterns are well understood, the effectiveness of control measures can be significantly improved. This helps reduce risks to livestock and residential communities near forests. Maintaining monitoring efforts after control measures are completed is also important to ensure long-term stability and safety in the area.
Little points on my trap right there. Down in there, like so.
Foot catch, which is an ID.
It all began with silence. There were no howls echoing through the night. No clear signs of chaos appeared around the farms. Only unexplained gaps. A few young calves went missing. Sheep herds became unusually restless whenever night fell. And then, on the soft mud beside the fence, footprints appeared. They were not wandering aimlessly. They moved as if they had memorized every tree root, every stream gap, and every trail cutting through the forest. The wolves were returning. Unlike many other predators, wolves do not rely on sheer strength. They win through coordination. A pack can track a target for hours, memorize terrain, and change tactics in the middle of a pursuit. This is what turns controlling them into a long game of strategy, where every move must be carefully calculated. Infrared cameras were deployed along natural movement corridors, night after night. The footage began to reveal an invisible network stretching across the mountains and forests. Wolves did not move randomly. They used fixed routes passed down through generations. These paths were like hidden highways understood only by them. Once the movement patterns were decoded, the next phase began. Instead of placing traps everywhere, wildlife control teams focused on natural choke points. These could be narrow passages between cliffs, a dry stream bed, or a gap between dense clusters of trees. The goal was not to force a wolf into a trap. The goal was to place the trap exactly where it was already going to pass. The steel foothold trap was prepared so carefully it almost disappeared into the ground.
slow trap.
Each layer of dry leaves was meticulously repositioned. Soil was dusted to match the surrounding environment. Even human scent had to be minimized as much as possible. With a sense of smell far beyond many other animals, wolves can detect a single unusual detail that the human eye would miss. One small mistake was enough to make an entire pack change routes for weeks.
So this dog box bedding is
But the hardest part was not hiding the trap. The hardest part was understanding the mind of the wolf. Adult wolves rarely rush into anything new. They observe, they test, they sniff repeatedly before making a decision. This is why experts spend weeks monitoring behavior. Every new footprint on the ground, every camera angle, and every slight change in movement routes becomes an essential piece of a larger puzzle.
Yep.
Then, on a freezing night, the long-awaited moment finally arrived. On the monitoring screen, the silhouette of a large wolf appeared under infrared light. It moved slowly along the familiar corridor. No rush, no hesitation. Everything around it matched what it had seen for months. When the next step landed on the pre-calculated spot, the trap mechanism instantly triggered. The entire process happened in a fraction of a second. Rapid response teams quickly arrived at the scene to handle the situation according to wildlife management protocols. The system's goal was not to create a violent confrontation. Instead, everything was designed to minimize risk to humans, livestock, and the surrounding ecosystem. But the story did not end with a single capture. The remaining wolves quickly adapted. They changed routes, shifted activity times, and became more cautious. Once again, the strategic game began. Wolf control has never been just about a steel foothold trap. It is a battle of patience, observation, and understanding one of North America's most intelligent predators. In that vast forest, where every footprint tells its own story, victory does not belong to the stronger side. It belongs to the one who understands the opponent's behavior better than anyone else.
Feed the pack for several days. But then
In just a few days, several farms located near the northern forests began losing livestock on a regular basis. At first, only a few sheep disappeared overnight, but soon several horses also became targets, raising concern among local farmers. Strangely, the fences remained intact, the barns showed no signs of damage, and the guard dogs reacted for only a few moments before falling silent again. Every morning, fresh tracks appeared in the damp soil leading into the forest. Infrared cameras captured little more than dark shapes moving quickly through the area before vanishing. All signs suggested that a wolf pack had adopted the region as part of its regular travel route. As losses continued to grow, farm owners realized that routine patrols were no longer enough. A wildlife control team was brought in to survey the entire area. Cameras were installed along fences, forest edges, and trails where tracks frequently appeared. After several days of monitoring, they discovered that the wolves followed fixed routes between the forest and grazing areas, showing that any effective response needed to focus on movement patterns rather than reacting after each attack. The first solution was bow hunting. Unlike firearms, bows allowed hunters to approach quietly without disturbing livestock. Hunters set up ambush positions near trails identified by the cameras, using vegetation, mud, and natural terrain for concealment while waiting patiently. The goal was simple: get within range and act before the wolves disappeared back into the forest. However, the reality proved far more difficult. Wolves possess excellent spatial memory and are extremely cautious. They often changed their travel schedules or approached from unexpected directions after detecting even minor disturbances. After many days of waiting, the team had very few opportunities for a close approach. Although bow hunting reduced noise, its effectiveness remained limited. Faced with this challenge, the team turned to cage traps. Large steel enclosures were placed in areas with heavy track activity, particularly near dry creek beds, forest edges, and entrances to grazing fields. Bait was placed inside, while the exterior was carefully camouflaged with leaves, branches, and natural soil to reduce any signs of human activity. Over the following days, the cage traps produced only limited results. A few younger, less experienced wolves entered while searching for food, but most of the pack kept a safe distance. Adult wolves often stopped to observe from afar before changing direction, showing that experienced animals could easily distinguish between a natural food source and a man-made structure placed along their usual route. The camouflage process was carried out with great care. A thin layer of soil covered the trigger mechanism, followed by dry leaves and natural ground cover to eliminate visible signs of disturbance. Even small rocks and nearby branches were carefully repositioned so the area blended perfectly with the surrounding terrain. At sunrise, the team returned to inspect the traps and found one section heavily disturbed. As they moved closer, they discovered that an adult wolf had been caught at a location where tracks had repeatedly appeared. Specialists quickly secured the situation, conducted a health assessment, and attached an identification device for monitoring. Numerous fresh tracks still surrounded the area, indicating that the entire pack had passed through during the night. This story is not only about traps or protecting livestock. It reflects a growing reality in which the distance between humans and wildlife continues to shrink. As environments change, predators adapt to survive, while rural communities search for ways to protect their livelihoods. From bow hunting to cage traps and foothold traps, each method comes with its own advantages and limitations. If you found this story interesting, leave a comment and don't forget to follow the channel for more real-life stories about wildlife and modern wildlife management.
For many consecutive days, residents around the area noticed a fox that frequently moved near farms and livestock facilities. The animal usually appeared during quiet hours when few people were around, and spent much of its time searching for food near places where small domestic animals were kept. Because of its cautious nature, the fox preferred routes with vegetation, bushes, or concealed terrain to avoid being seen. Through repeated observation, local residents discovered that it regularly followed familiar paths connecting fields, gardens, and livestock areas. Its repeated appearances over a long period showed that this was no longer an isolated incident, but a growing concern for the community. In the days that followed, the fox continued appearing near residential areas and farms throughout the region. It often traveled along field edges, moved beside fences, or slipped unnoticed into places where poultry and other small animals were raised. Several livestock owners began noticing that animals were disappearing without any obvious explanation. As sightings of the fox became more frequent, people gradually concluded that it was responsible for the recent losses. The animal's constant presence caused concern among residents because they feared it would continue returning and creating further damage. Faced with this situation, many people agreed that suitable control measures needed to be implemented to protect livestock and reduce future losses. After identifying the locations where the fox appeared most frequently, residents began installing a trapping system in carefully selected areas. Places near trails, fence lines, and dense vegetation were prioritized because they matched the animal's normal movement patterns. Bait was prepared and positioned carefully to increase the chances of attracting the fox. Throughout the setup process, the surrounding environment was left almost unchanged to avoid altering the animal's natural behavior. Every trap was thoroughly inspected before being put into operation to ensure reliable performance. Once all preparations were complete, residents continued monitoring the area and waiting for results. Although human activity in the area had increased noticeably, the fox continued returning to familiar locations in search of food. It followed the same routes it had used for many previous days and showed no indication of leaving the region. From time to time, the animal was seen near livestock enclosures before quickly disappearing into nearby bushes or open fields. These repeated appearances demonstrated that the fox was maintaining its normal feeding habits despite changes in its surroundings. This convinced local residents that the animal had not yet detected the presence of the trapping system. Its confidence allowed it to continue operating within areas that were already being closely monitored. During the following days, the fox passed repeatedly through locations where traps had been installed. The bait appeared to attract its attention more strongly with each visit. Whenever it approached the area, the animal spent time observing its surroundings before gradually moving closer to the trap location. Over time, the distance between the fox and the trapping system steadily decreased. Because it continued following the same familiar travel routes, the animal returned to the area night after night. Its frequent presence around the bait suggested that the chances of success were steadily increasing. Residents remained attentive and continued monitoring developments. After many days of waiting, the desired result finally arrived. During a routine inspection one morning, residents discovered that a trap had been triggered in an area where fox activity had often been recorded. Around the location were footprints and disturbed patches of soil, indicating that the animal had approached the bait during the night. Upon closer examination, people confirmed that the fox had been successfully contained within the trapping system. This outcome demonstrated that selecting trap locations according to the animal's movement habits had been an effective strategy. Following the capture, livestock losses declined significantly, and daily life in the area gradually began returning to normal. The successful control of the fox helped restore stability to the livestock area. Residents continued monitoring the surroundings and protecting their animals to reduce the risk of similar incidents in the future. This experience highlighted the importance of early detection and timely action whenever wild animals appear near residential communities. Through cooperation, observation, and consistent monitoring, the community managed the situation effectively and prevented further losses. Their efforts provided a valuable example of responsible wildlife management and community protection.
Areas near forests or semi-wild regions often change as natural environments shrink over time. As forest land decreases due to the expansion of residential areas and production zones, the natural food sources for wolves also decline. This forces them to travel farther in search of food. At first, wolves only appear deep in the forest or in areas with little human presence. Later, they gradually move toward forest edges and closer to residential zones. Their frequency of appearance increases over time. This indicates that their movement behavior is changing as they adapt to the new environment surrounding human settlements and nearby farms. In the next stage, wolves begin to appear at night or during dawn. They may travel alone or in small groups. While moving, they often follow fences, trails, or areas with dense vegetation. These routes help them avoid detection. In some cases, wolves approach livestock areas very closely before quickly retreating. Their appearance becomes increasingly frequent near the boundary between forest and residential areas. This significantly expands their range of activity. At the same time, the level of risk to livestock and human living areas increases based on real observed changes in the region. As the situation becomes more evident, control measures begin to be implemented. Observers track the familiar movement routes of wolves to determine suitable locations. Traps are placed along trails, near fences, at forest edges, and in open ground areas. These are places wolves commonly pass through while foraging. Bait is placed during setup to increase attraction efficiency. Surrounding areas are left unchanged to avoid alerting the animals. Observation points are also positioned discreetly to monitor the entire area without altering the natural movement behavior of wolves in controlled zone. After the trap system is fully installed, the area is kept quiet to avoid changing wolf behavior. At night, wolves begin to return along their familiar routes. They move more slowly when approaching baited areas and pause to observe their surroundings. They then continue through both vegetation cover and open ground. Observers monitor from hidden positions to record behavior. The stable environment makes wolves less cautious. This allows them to approach closer to prearranged control zone set up in advance in the forest edge area. As they approach the identified zone, wolves begin to enter the activation range. The scent of bait causes them to pause and observe before moving forward. During this process, they follow the pre-calculated path. Once sufficient trigger conditions are met, the trap mechanism activates rapidly. The animal is restrained at the exact location. The entire event happens so quickly that the wolf cannot change direction. After the situation ends, observers confirm that the trap location matches the actual movement routes of the wolf pack. After the trapping event, wolf packs continue to appear in the area in the following nights. They move more slowly and tend to observe more carefully before approaching. Some individuals change direction upon detecting unusual signs. However, familiar routes such as forest edges and trails are still frequently used. Their movement behavior becomes more cautious, but does not disappear completely. Observers continue recording these changes to assess the impact of control measures in the real environment around forest edge and residential areas. Wolf control requires long-term observation and a clear understanding of movement behavior. When traps are placed in the correct locations, effectiveness increases. This helps reduce risks to livestock and residential communities in the area.
Exists silently like a criminal. Yet the dole is classified as
As you can see,
Imagine a farmer waking up at dawn and finding nothing but scattered feathers behind the chicken coop. There were no loud noises during the night. No fences had been broken. Yet in just a few short hours, dozens of chickens had vanished. The culprit was the red fox, one of the most cunning predators in the British countryside. These animals move almost silently, use darkness to their advantage, and remember every weakness around a farm. Every year, thousands of poultry owners lose birds to these unexpected raids. But in areas such as Yorkshire, Devon, and Cornwall, local farmers have developed methods based on understanding fox travel patterns. Simple yet highly effective strategies that continue to be widely used today. Last winter, a farmer near Yorkshire began noticing something unusual.
2 pounds equals 50.
Every few nights, a few more chickens would disappear. An infrared camera finally revealed the culprit.
On the camera, calling the cubs up, so he's very much involved with looking after it.
A fully grown red fox appeared at almost exactly 3 o'clock in the morning. Instead of rushing straight toward the coop, it circled the area several times, carefully checking its surroundings. Once it was certain there was no danger, it quickly grabbed its prey and disappeared into the darkness within minutes. What worried the farmer most was the realization that the fox seemed to know the entire property by heart. While many people focused on building stronger fences or installing brighter lights, experienced farmers concentrated on something else: the fox's regular travel routes. After years of observation, they discovered that most foxes do not move randomly. Small paw prints in soft soil, flattened patches of grass, and gaps beneath fences all became valuable clues. One farmer once found a fox trapped beneath a fence, and that location helped him identify the route the animal frequently used. At that spot, he did not place bait out in the middle of a field. Instead, he positioned a specialized foothold trap directly along the fox's natural path. The The trap was carefully concealed beneath a thin layer of soil and dry leaves. Every effort was made to minimize human scent and disturbance. Experienced trappers understood that foxes possess an extremely sensitive sense of smell. If they detect an unfamiliar scent or even a slight change in the ground, they may avoid the area for weeks. For several nights in a row, cameras recorded the fox following the same familiar route. It would stop, sniff the air, scan its surroundings, and continue forward. The distance between its denning area and the chicken coop remained nearly identical every night. Everything unfolded exactly as expected. On the sixth night, the decisive moment finally arrived. As the fox stepped into the location it used most often, the trap was triggered. In an instant, the animal was restrained before it could reach the poultry area. The following morning, the farmer checked the site and confirmed that the raids that had plagued the farm for months had finally come to an end. What made the result remarkable was that it did not rely on constant pursuit or endless searching. Instead, it relied on understanding the animal's behavior.
Let's let her go.
Meanwhile, the debate over predator control continues. Some people argue that foxes play an important role in controlling rodent populations in the wild. Livestock and poultry owners, however, believe they must protect their livelihoods from growing losses. Yet regardless of where people stand, most agree that foxes are among the smartest opponents farmers face. From Yorkshire to Devon, Cornwall, and rural communities across England, this quiet conflict continues night after night. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this story, please leave a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating stories in the future. Red foxes have proven that danger does not always come from strength alone. Sometimes it comes from patience, intelligence, and an extraordinary ability to adapt in the darkness.
It all began when chickens on a farm started disappearing day after day without anyone knowing why. There were no witnesses, no clear traces, and no unusual sounds recorded during the night. Every morning, the owner would wake up to find fewer chickens and a growing sense of concern. But the security cameras revealed a completely different story. The culprit was neither rushing its attacks nor appearing by chance. It had been observing the area for several nights, memorizing every route, and only moving when everything became completely quiet. What surprised the owner most was that the animal seemed to know exactly how to approach the chicken coop without being detected. That was the moment the trapping operation began. Foxes are predators that are primarily active at night. They usually leave their shelters when the surrounding area becomes quiet and human activity decreases. On farms with weak protective measures, poultry coops can quickly become an attractive food source. Once a fox discovers a reliable source of food, it often remembers a location and returns repeatedly using the same route. This is why many farmers only realize there is a problem after their poultry numbers begin to decline over time. After confirming the fox's presence, the farmer continued monitoring the cameras for several consecutive nights. The footage showed that the animal appeared at almost the same time every night. Once its travel route was identified, the next step was selecting a trap location and using bait such as chicken, sheep, or goat to attract it. On many farms, metal cage traps are commonly used because they're easy to manage and suitable for areas close to homes. The effectiveness of trapping does not depend on the number of traps, but on their accuracy. One trap placed in the right location is often far more valuable than several traps placed randomly. However, setting traps does not mean monitoring can stop. Cameras continue operating every night to record any changes in the animal's behavior. If its travel route changes, the trap location must be adjusted accordingly. In many cases, once access to the chicken coop becomes more difficult, the frequency of fox visits begins to decline. The combination of observation and continuous adjustment allows farmers to stay proactive rather than simply reacting after losses have already occurred. In addition to traps and cameras, many farms also use guard dogs to strengthen their defenses. Dogs can detect the presence of unfamiliar animals from a considerable distance and immediately provide a warning. Their presence makes foxes more cautious when approaching livestock areas. Some livestock guardian breeds are even trained to patrol around the coop during the night. When foxes realize an area is being regularly guarded, they often choose to leave rather than continue risking an approach. Alongside control measures, reinforcing farm structures also plays an important role. Fences should be buried deep enough to prevent animals from digging underneath. Coop doors must be securely locked before nightfall. Leftover feed and organic waste around livestock areas should also be cleaned up regularly to avoid attracting wildlife. When food becomes harder to access, the likelihood of foxes returning decreases significantly. In addition to cage traps, some regions also use specialized traps placed directly along fox travel routes. Regardless of the method used, the ultimate goal remains the same: minimizing losses to livestock while maintaining a balance between farming activities and the surrounding environment. If you found this story interesting, leave a comment and share your thoughts. Don't forget to follow the channel to discover more real-life stories about trapping operations, wildlife management efforts, and rural life, where people and nature continue to coexist every day.